Rise, the Bradford Legal Heritage Plays. Originally written by Jill Arnold, adapted for radio by Lydia Pearce and Paisley Boyd. Original music by Eric Linfoot. Sponsored by Broadway House Chambers.
All rise.
Our next case, your worships, is William Bairstow. Call William Bairstow. Do you swear by Almighty God to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir, I do.
Give your name and address to the court.
William Bairstow, 24 Nelson Street, Bradford.
It is said that on December 2nd that you were drunk and disorderly in the Bradford Alhambra Theatre, and whilst there you assaulted one of the performers by throwing a beer bottle toward the stage, hitting her on the head. How do you plead?
Not guilty, sir. I am innocent.
Well, very well. Take your hat off then, Bairstow, and sit down.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Your worships, the facts of this case took place in our new Alhambra Theatre. It was a Friday evening, your worships, and the Alhambra Theatre was showing its first performance of the pantomime Cinderella.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir, the show was sold out and the audience in a riotously good spirits. The pantomime had been written especially for the Bradford Alhambra and focused on the tragic life of poor Cinderella.
Oh,
yes.
Cinderella's wicked stepmother, Scarlet Heights, had torn down the former family home, leaving a massive hole at the bottom of Bradford city centre. Cinders and her father, Baron Hardup, were forced to leave our wonderful city and move to the wicked stepmother's home in Leeds.
Boo!
Yes, Cinderella and Baron Hardup led a very, very sorry life in Leeds. Rarely able to find a decent curry, they were forced to adapt to a living on smashed avocado brunches and oat milk lattes. To make life worse, Cinders was bullied by the two ugly stepsisters, Daisy Hill and Myrtle Park. Her only comfort was her best friend, Sparkle's car wash. The show was hugely popular. Laughter, cheers and boos could be heard throughout the house. It was a joyous and splendid atmosphere. Unfortunately, your worships, this wonderful evening was to be short-lived. As the first half was drawing to a close, the complainant was on the stage with the four prosecution witnesses.
and who were they?
There were Scarlet Heights, the wicked stepmother, Daisy Hill and Myrtle Park, the ugly sisters, and of course Baron Hardup.
Excuse me.
They were the characters on the stage at the time of the assault. Scarlet Heights, the wicked stepmother, played by Virginia Good, being the complainant.
And Baron whom?
Baron Hardup, played by Joe Russell, sir.
Well then, please continue.
And so, your worship, 7 rows back in the stalls was the defendant, William Bairstow. Not only was he inebriated and obnoxious, he had managed to sneak a bottle of beer into his pocket to consume during the performance. The incident began with the defendant calling out to the actors on the stage. At first, it was thought that he was merely joining in with the audience participation, but as the jeers and boos turned into vulgar insults and odious threats, the defendant removed the now empty bottle from his pocket and proceeded to launch it onto the stage towards the actors.
Good Lord, and what happened then?
Well, the bottle hit the wicked stepmother on the head. She staggered and then gave out a loud cry.
And then?
Well, sir, it was typical of the slapstick antics used in pantomime. You see, only 2 minutes before, Baron Hardup had been hit with a frying pan. So, unfortunately, most of the audience thought it was part of the show. It was only the audience members sat directly behind the defendant who witnessed his misdemeanor. The ugly sisters and the Baron, of course, saw the assault from close range, and when they saw the wicked stepmother's head starting to bleed, they started to panic.
My goodness me, how dreadful.
Indeed, sir. It was quickly realised that there was a serious problem, and the stage curtain swiftly dropped. It was then that Bairstow attempted to leave, jumping over the seats to make his exit, and all hell broke loose.
I take it that the witnesses are here.
Yes, sir. The complainant and the witnesses are all here. But I must point out, your worships, that the 4 witnesses are all members of the cast, and they have to give their evidence in costume today, as they are due on stage directly after this case is heard for the afternoon matinee.
Well, this is very highly irregular. Due to the circumstances, I think we could allow it just this once.
Call Virginia Good and Joe Russell. Do you, Virginia Good and Joe Russell, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Oh, I do. I truly do.
Yes, sir, I do.
Miss Good, can you tell us what happened on December the 2nd?
Ah, yes, I was on stage at the new Alhambra Theatre, playing Scarlet Heights, the wicked stepmother, in Cinderella, a life-changing role. A talent scout from the Leeds Grand was in the audience that night, so it was dreadfully important that my performance of my ever-growing career shone through. I was shining bright on the stage to my adoring fans, when through the spotlight flew a beer bottle of all things, into me right on the head. Whilst it was I who was injured that evening, it's truly the audience I feel for, who were robbed of seeing my special encore.
Everyone's seen your special encore, Virginia. That's probably all that supposed talent scout was interested in.
Now, come on, keep calm, everyone. We need to hear the evidence, please.
And what were you actually doing on the stage at the time of the assault?
Oh, acting, of course, you nincompoop.
Ho, ho.
No, madam, I mean which scene?
Oh, I remember. It was actually one of my pivotal scenes.
Shut up, hard up. He was addressing what? Yes, we were on stage discussing the ball and exactly what we would be wearing.
Oh, your worships, is this absolutely necessary? You will all see in good time that this was an accident, and no one could be sure who threw what.
Oh, sit down then, please.
I was just trying to establish, your worships, if there was any possible reason as to why the bottle was thrown at that specific time. Miss Good, what exactly do you recall?
Well, I remember being in the middle of a heartbreaking monologue. The audience were in the palm of my hands when out of the darkness came a flying object, and it hit me on my very delicate forehead.
Oh, heartbreaking monologue. The ugly sisters were swinging you around the stage by your corset ribbons, whilst you were tunelessly belted out. Where'd you get that at?
And then?
I put my hand to my forehead and felt the crimson trickle of blood. Then I staggered, I sighed, I looked to my fans, and I cried in pain.
Mr. Russell, what do you remember about the 2nd of December?
Well, sir, I was on stage and I was playing Bernard up with the wicked stepmother and 2 of those, those ugly sisters. It was almost time for the intermission, and I was rather looking forward to a cheeky sherry in the dressing room. Virginia was squawking as per her usual self all the way through her number, whilst the 2 bats were swinging around on stage. Didn't actually see the bottle at Virginia, sir. I heard a thud, I thought it were her, and the singing stopped. To be honest, I think it was a vast improvement, and I'm going to suggest the director that we keep it as part of the show.
Well, anything else to add?
Well, sir, I saw Virginia wobbling. Nothing new there. There was a roar from the audience, and then just a bit of chaos. The stagehands dropped, the curtains dropped, she dropped, everything dropped. I thought, Virginia, are you okay? And then, sir, yep, she were bleeding from her head. But she were conscious and she was still spouting that rubbish.
Oh, dear me, can this get any worse?
I'm afraid so, sir. Perhaps now is a good time to call the ugly sisters. I'm sorry, Betty and Annie Ball, sir.
Call Betty and Annie Ball. Betty and Annie Ball, do you swear by Almighty God to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we do.
Betty Ball, what did you see on the night in question?
Well, sir, I was performing on stage as Ugly Sister number 1. Daisy Hill. We were on the last song of the first half. I happened to be looking out into the audience and I saw this man stand up and sling a bottle right onto the stage. I thought it was going to hit me.
Wow. What happened next?
Well, we were midway through Where Did You Get That Hat? My sister and I are swinging the wicked stepmother played by Virginia Good around the stage. I saw the defendant stand up and take aim. I thought the bottle was going to hit me, so I instinctively jerked Miss Good's corset strings to bring her centre stage. It was a momentary reaction. I didn't mean for her to get hit.
Betty Ball! I knew you had it in for me ever since we played a pantomime horse at the Palisades.
Oh, shut it, Virginia. Shut it. Betty carried you through that performance at the Palisades because you couldn't even play the back end of a blooming horse without overreacting.
Come now, any more of this and I'll clear the public gallery. You're not on stage now, you lot.
Annie, what did you see?
I saw blood, sir, dripping down her face, and she nearly fell over.
And then?
Well, sir, I could see the culprit climbing over the back of his seat to try and get away, so I shouted, "He's behind you!"
And?
Well, the audience shouted back, "Oh, no, he's not."
And Annie, what did you do?
I wanted to make sure he was caught, so I shouted out, "Who's the villain?"
And?
The audience pointed at Virginia and shouted, "It's the wicked stepmother!"
What happened then, Annie?
Oh, it was dreadful, sir. People shouting and screaming. Then the stage hand dropped the curtain, and which I was directly underneath, and I was trapped in a tangle of gold braiding and red velvet. I eventually escaped onto the audience side, where I saw the assailant had been apprehended by audience members.
And who was the assailant, Annie?
Well, he's behind you, sir. There, stood in the dock.
Your worships, although there was some evident confusion, the culprit was eventually apprehended, and the motive for his actions a mystery. His guilt is very clear, and so indeed he deserves to be punished accordingly.
This case has been a farce from beginning to end. Nothing is clear, and nobody really seems to know who did what and when. It was him. It was not him. He's there. He's not there. The house was full, and it was pandemonium. There were screams, boos, laughter, an array of boisterous babble. How could anyone be sure of what actually happened and why? Mr. Bairstow, tell the court in your own words what happened that evening.
Well, sir, I decided to go to the new Alhambra to see Cinderella. I heard it was an excellent show.
Is it true that you've never seen a pantomime before?
Yes, that's correct, sir. So I was very excited.
And did you have an alcoholic drink before you went to the theatre?
Yes, sir. I was very excited, so I just called at the Rose and Crown for a couple of drinks.
Is it correct that you took a bottle of beer in your pocket into the theatre?
Well, yes, sir, but not deliberately. I didn't realise I'd done it.
And how did that bottle get onto the stage and hit the wicked stepmother on the head?
Come, Miss Bashir.
Sorry,
Please.
sir. Sorry, hit Miss Good on the head.
I really don't know, sir. I was just enjoying the pantomime and joining in with everyone else, shouting and booing and all that.
And then?
Well, 1 minute I had the beer bottle in my hand, and the next it had gone. I don't remember nothing else.
You don't remember anything?
Well, being chased and sat on.
Your worships, as you can see, this man can hardly remember the events, and none of the witnesses can say for sure it was him that threw that bottle. Even if he did throw it, how can you be sure that this was a malicious or vindictive attack, and not just a genuine overzealous reaction to a wicked stepmother in a pantomime? His only crime is only being too enthusiastic and trying to participate in the plot. He actually is a good man.
Oh, no, he's not. He's a very naughty boy indeed.
Unbelievable.
Your worship, the wicked stepmother, Miss Good, has recovered fully, and there is no real harm done. My client is sorry for any involvement in the incident, and the witnesses need to get on to the afternoon matinee today. In fact, the publicity around this event and court case has increased ticket sales to the pantomime. I ask you to take this into account along with the defendant's remorse. After all, the show must go on.
Mr. Bairstow, we have indeed taken all the evidence into consideration. Your attendance at the Alhambra Theatre that night took the word farce to a whole new level. You not only ruined the evening for the audience, but you also managed to injure one of the cast members. There is no excuse for your behaviour. Your conduct was outrageous, and you will be punished accordingly. Percy Bairstow, you are going to prison for 3 months.
Oh, no, sir, I'm not.
Oh, yes, sir, you are. Take him down.
Hiya, kids! It's me, Cinderella's best friend, Sparkle's Car Wash, also known sometimes as Wishy Washy, Immy Shammy, Squeaky Cleany, or Tiry Shiny. We couldn't finish without letting you know what became of poor old Cinderella, could we? If you remember, when we last saw Cinderella, she and her father, Bernardo, had been forced to move to Leeds. One day, after a hard day of sweeping out the fireplaces at the wicked stepmother's house, Cinderella was sat in the cellar, crying into a coal scuttle, when she heard an announcement on a distant radio. It was the Queen of Bradford. She was holding a grand ball to celebrate the reopening of St. George's Hall. Cinder sat in the dark thinking she would never see her beloved Bradford again and could never even dream of attending that ball. Suddenly, an ember from the coal scuttle started to glow brighter and brighter. It flew up into the air and spun around like a Catherine wheel until it exploded in a ball of light, leaving Cinderella's fairy godmother stood in the fireplace, illuminated like a star. "What are you beefing for?" the fairy godmother said. "I just want to go to the ball," beefed Cinderella. "Well, we could soon sort that out," said the fairy godmother. "Now you go and clean up your mascara. You look like the last lass from an hen party lost on North Parade." Then, with a wave of her magic wand, the fairy godmother transformed Cinderella's soap-covered pedal pushers into a shimmering gown. She changed her wire-edged Ford Focus into a stretched limousine, and the master's student that was renting one of the wicked stepmother's rooms out through Airbnb, she turned him into a chauffeur. She even turned little old me into her date for the evening. Well, fortunately, I have a tuxedo on me at all times, just in case of such an emergency, although it seemed to have mysteriously shrunk during the lockdown. Now, as Cinderella walked into the newly painted foyer of St. George's Hall, all eyes were on her. Everybody wanted to dance with Cinderella and find out who she was. She spent the night twirling around under the bright lights. She spoke about her love for Bradford City, her adoration of the people, and how lost she was in Leeds. As the City Hall clock struck 12 o'clock, Cinderella ran away from the hall into the street. The Queen of Bradford followed her out. She wanted to know who she was. Who was this mysterious stranger that loved Bradford so much? But all she saw were the broken brake lights of a Ford Focus disappearing over the hill to Jacobswell. The Queen of Bradford was determined to find Cinderella. She put an advert on the front of the TNA, was interviewed on BCB and appeared on Look North. She even offered a massive reward. Well, when they heard about the appeal and the reward, the wicked stepmother and the ugly sisters, well, they planned to trick the Queen of Bradford into paying them the reward by pretending to be Cinderella. Well, Myrtle was sold into a decadent ball gown, while Daisy applied layers and layers of makeup. Scarlet dragged Cinderella right out the cellar and dressed her up as a chauffeur, and they all set off to Bradford. On arriving at the City Hall steps, the ugly sisters fought to get out the car. Ending up falling out onto the pavement, Cinderella moved the car round to the back of City Hall, parking it on double yellow lines, but she diligently put on her hazard light. Now, as she sat there singing along to something on Pulse FM on the radio, she spotted the Queen quietly sneaking out the back door of City Hall. Cinders pulled the car right up next to her, wound the window down and said, "Are you all right?" She said, "No, I'm not all right at all. I put out this appeal and all I've had all day is a parade of people pretending to be this Cinderella. They're trying to trick the reward out of me. I've had enough." Do you fancy a getaway driver? Offered Cinderella, who looked unrecognisable as a chauffeur. I don't mind if I do. Come on, let's go. The Queen of Bradford flung her crown on the back seat, gathered her skirts and hopped into the front seat of the car. And off they sped through the streets of Bradford together. They tried out the tandems at the City of Cycling. They explored the exhibits at the Media Museum and ate enough bits and pieces to start speaking Italian. The Queen of Bradford told Cinderella that while she loved Bradford very much, she was exhausted and tired looking after the city all on her own. And when she'd met that Cinderella, the mysterious stranger at the ball, she thought she'd finally found somebody that she could work with, taking care of Bradford. Well, as they wandered through the city, they ended up at the bottom of Market Street, where Cinderella's home, it used to stand. I'm so disappointed, lamented the Queen of Bradford. There's no one to help me, and I still have no idea what to do with this oval at the bottom of the city centre. Oh, I give up. And with that, she slumped against the hoardings and slid down to the ground in defeat. What are you beefing for? Exclaimed Cinderella. I'm the Queen, and I'll jolly well beef however and wherever I want. Oh, come on, said Cinderella. Don't be upset. Look, it's me, Cinderella. I'd love to help you look after Bradford. Cinders took off the oversized jacket and the hat Scarlet made her wear. The Queen of Bradford blinked through her tears and looked up and realised she spent the afternoon with the very person she'd been looking for. The Queen of Bradford gave Cinderella the reward and a job right there on the spot. Well, Cinderella's dashed back to Leeds to go and fetch her dad and Sparkles and the master's student. Yeah, she'd taken a shine to him, and they all moved into a flat right at the top of the City Hall clock tower. Now, from their new flat, they could see all of the city, including the sparkling new shopping centre Cinderella and the Queen had built, right where Cinderella's old house used to stand. Every night they would watch the stars from behind the clock face, and they all lived happily ever after. And the moral of the story is, whether you're rich or whether you are poor, it's better to be rich. So remember, kids, even though Cinderella was kept away from Bradford, it was still there waiting for her to come back. I hope that after this horrible illness is gone, we'll all be still here too. I can't wait to see all you lovely people back at the Alhambra just as soon as we all can. Ta-ra, everybody! The end.
The end? Oh no, Billy Pearce. You may be Bradford's favourite son, but you're nothing compared to Virginia Good. And now time for my special encore. Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore... Excuse me, unhand me. I'm a legend, you can't take me away.
You've been listening to All Rise, the Bradford Legal Heritage Plays, originally written by Jill Arnold, adapted for radio by Lydia Pearce and Paisley Boyd. Original music by Eric Linfoot. Sponsored by Broadway House Chambers. Tonight's episode was titled The Show Must Go On. Playing chair of the bench, Harry Atkinson. Defence lawyer, Sarah Khan Bashir MBE. Prosecuting lawyer, Billy Pearce. Defendant William Bairstow, Richard Clues. Complainant Virginia Good, Amapal Singh. Witness Joe Russell, Riaz Sheikh. Witness Betty Ball, Karaisha Nuttu. Witness Annie Ball, Jill Arnold. Clerk to the court, Abigail Langford. And Sparkles Car Wash, performed by Billy Pearce. The All Rise Legal Heritage Plays are based on genuine court cases heard in Bradford throughout history. This play was based on a case heard in Bradford around 1914. This production has been broadcast by BCB Radio and on Spotify as part of the 2020 Bradford Fringe Festival. If you have enjoyed this performance, please consider donating to the Bradford Fringe crowdfunder. You can find information about the crowdfunder at bradfordfringe.co.uk or search Bradford Fringe on Facebook. Bradford Fringe Festival runs from the 4th of July until the 4th of August, and All Rise, the Bradford Legal Heritage Plays, will be broadcast every Saturday throughout the Fringe at 6 p.m. on BCB and available to stream on Bradford Fringe Spotify.